I'ma jump it off, straight up ripping, pop my clipping. Best word to the nigga that's tripping. Over there, I think I see him finna get him. Fuck who came with him. Niggas spraying your place. I don't know who's spraying the mace, but I bet you motherfuckers better move before I get in the mood. Straight act the fool, pass the fool. You niggas can't hold us. Continuous throwing these boulders. Don't act like ain't nobody told ya. These crooks can't you uphold ya. Take no to us, a click a nigga. Up off our deal, you nigga. Out of my face, boy, I will kill a nigga. Better yet, steal a nigga. Feel the rippler. Ripping you hoes up in his face, crushing his flows. You a disgrace. One to the dome, up in his place, robbing his home, taking it all. I'll be down to ride. Dallas is bound to rise. Waited, I turn, bitch, now it's our time. Lyrical homicide, stakes are high, but we still blowing. Still smoking, still cheating up in this game. We ain't tiptoeing. See the dope blow it, I'm a weed fiend, finna bleed steam, nigga. So keep your eyes on the night, cause I just might hit your crib. Now where you live, I'm a crook for life.
Lay it down, I'm a crook for life. If you feel it, will you ball with me?
All right. So that was a quick little intro I wanted to come up with. That came from Mr. Pookie with his hit "Crook for Life." That's back from 1999. Well, let's get into this a little bit here. This is gonna be a short stream. The Pandora Papers and Facebook crashed. Let's start with the Pandora Papers. So you had the Panama Papers, hold on, let me see this Guardian article that I had earlier. See if I can find it here. It's in here somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Take it with a grain of salt, Guardian, you know. 11.9 million files hired by wealthy clients to create offshore structures and trusts and tax havens such as Panama, Dubai, Monaco, Switzerland, and the Cayman Islands. So, like I say, the Tories in the UK are going to have trouble because this includes information about them. Also includes what's the other? What the hell's his name? Murals from Banksy there. More than 100 billionaires feature in the leaked data. Many use shell companies to hold luxury items such as property and yachts. Yeah. Emails, memos, corporation records, share certificates, compliance reports, and complex diagrams showing elaborate corporate structures. Often they allow true owners of opaque shell companies to be identified for the first time. So let me see here. So the first one was the Panama Papers, and this, from the law firm Mossack Fonseca. This is followed by the Paradise Papers, which was founded in Bermuda. 1.4 terabytes of data. Pandora Papers. So there's talk of Russia in there, Germany. There's a little bit of China in there. Like I said, this one is far more encompassing. You have, of course, including the president of Azerbaijan and his wife, who apparently had, they had something like, 300 million pounds? Hold on. The Aliyev, 400 million pounds worth of UK property was sold. But then they sold, how it came to, but the Crown Estate, which is now looking into how it came to pay 67 million pounds to a company that operated as a front for the family that runs a country routinely accused of corruption. A lot of folks are refusing to comment, of course. The Saudis are involved. A lot of folks are being revealed. Yeah. Oh, okay, excuse me. Tony and Cherie Blair saved 312,000 pounds in property taxes. Let's see here. Yeah, British Virgin Islands. We, of course, have Zelensky. Putin wasn't named, but there was a close childhood friend, Peter Corbyn. There's a lot of folks mentioned in this. Yeah. Not my fiscal paradise, exactly. Like I say, this really isn't a surprise. It's just a series of things. Like I say, it sounds to me like this is stuff that basically this is, information that a lawyer happened to find, and it's just like, let's just release it, and that's the whole thing, right? It shows that lawyers do have morals. I know people make plenty of lawyer jokes, this and that, but I think that lawyers do, serve their purpose in society. As cringe as that may be, but, take it for what it is, right? That's not really, like I say, overall, it's not really that surprising. The thing is that people will always find a way to work with accountants, work with folks that know how to hide money and hide ones and zeros. And there's always going to be those folks. There's always going to be they're always going to find ways to get out of it. But the real interesting thing is that Facebook was shut down. Let me go ahead and check quick about Facebook right quick. Is Facebook done? Has it been shut down? No, it hasn't. Facebook is back online. Okay. So Facebook was down. I mean, this was a very thorough attack. And I'm sure, who the hell knows? It could be the U.S. government. It could be who knows. But Facebook was hacked so deeply that employees could not enter Facebook offices because the doors were locked and they couldn't use their key cards. So that's how thorough it was. I mean, there are plenty of folks who are like, haha, overall, people can be angry about Facebook and say that, oh, well, Facebook is a threat to democracy. It's like, look, I think that a lot of folks, it just became boomerism. That's the whole thing. I mean, hell, that was quite a while back when boomers started to go on there. And when your grandma started to go on Facebook, people are like, oh, well, fuck Facebook then, there was that time, right, where it's just like, I would say, Facebook started about 2004, and that's a couple months afterwards. That's when I got involved messing around on Facebook. I would say probably like 2010, maybe even a little bit earlier. That's when boomers started to discover Facebook, and when older, when grandmas and whatnot discovered Facebook. People can blame Facebook for far right and all that stuff, but to me, my bad for not caring about an obstruction like democracy, abstraction. No, because democracy doesn't mean anything. Democracy, for all practical purposes, unless you're on the bad end of it, doesn't mean much. Democracy is a fancy word at this point. Of course, people will talk about my free speech and all that business and say how there are limits to free speech and all that sort of thing, and that ultimately, if the government stepped in, to take down Facebook, then it'd be so much better. And it's just like, I don't know. Libertarians, of course, are seething, about that and be like, oh, is it, we should worry about big government versus big tech. The thing is, big tech universally, it started out as some cool. Everybody's reminiscing about the internet in general, about how it was a wild, wild west show until boomers got involved, until, numerous incidents such as the Pittsburgh shooter and all that sort of thing, screw your optics, I'm going in, guy, But I would say this is, just how things go. I think like I said, people are far too quick to be defeatist and be like, oh, I've lost my safe space where I can say edgy stuff and watch edgy. It's just like, look, you get older, man. It's like, you don't expect to get the same thrill. It's just like, I used to love listening to Eminem, but now I realize that Eminem was always kind of a, sort of a, I don't like white supremacist type stuff. I'm cooler than that sort of thing. He was always that way. I've heard him talk shit about right wingers, and of course you hear him say, these Nazis, and you hypocrites, and you Nazis thinking you got me, and all this sort of stuff. Where it's like, it was clear that he was always a shill. But anywho, I'm getting off on topic. The point is that Facebook. It's like, who wastes their time with Facebook? I gave up on Facebook. I think after there's a high school friend of mine, and I congratulated her on turning, I think, 31. And I said, oh, yeah, it just gets worse from here, or something like that. It's a jokey thing. And then, of course, it's like, you were old back in high school or something like that. It's just like, okay, bro. And I just felt like, screw Facebook. So I stopped going. I stopped going on there after that point. But Facebook isn't worth it, I mean, the thing is, in terms of social media sites, I mean, you can go ahead and blame it all you want to, but it's like, I don't know. People have made careers out of it, YouTube and Twitch and, I mean, definitely Twitter. There have been people who have made money off of it, The same thing with anything else on the internet, Sorry. I can't imagine I got like Vosh in a regular job. Could you imagine that? Or could you imagine someone like Jason Unruh? I know he has a regular job, but I cannot imagine what he'd be doing for a regular job. That edgy bro. Oh, man. I will say this, though. I'm going to finish up this kind of short stream with this, but yeah. Democracy. I'm sympathetic to Oswald's idea of occupational democracy / voting. Yeah. I mean, democracy is just basically the status quo at this point. It's just like this idea of trying to maintain a democracy so that we can have voting and so that we can have strong American institutions. No, the American institutions are dead. They're functionally dead. Universities have basically shifted their material and basically sold out and have farmed out much of their teaching ability to things like, D2L, Desire to Learn, and all these online programs. And that's where a significant portion of your grade comes from. So it's like, what's the point of college if all you need to do is go through this D2L bullshit, and as long as you can log into Quizlet, and hide the fact that you're on Quizlet, it's like, who cares? That's how people are, right? And of course they try to have these lockdown browsers and shit so you don't go on Quizlet, but it's like, all you have to do is just get your phone and just put it right next to you and make it so that it's right next to the camera, so that it's a lot easier, so that you don't see your eyes darting away. You can do it fairly quick. But anyway, that's a little trick that you can use. But that's the whole point. Why does anyone give a shit about fucking college or anything else, or say that we want strong institutions? The institutions are dead functionally. Whether it's college and education, I mean, just the whole education system is dead. Whether it's like public meetings, going to like rallies and shit, where all these old boomers are just saying, I remember going to that rally for good old Beta O'Rourke, and he's just like, I mean, you see all these old boomers and whatnot. It's like, every day I call up the office of Ted Cruz and tell him he's a butthole or something like that. It's just like, this is the level of discourse that we have. I mean, people are just trying to hang on to some sort of semblance of power. They're so concerned about mud Republicans are the bad ones. It's like, no, it doesn't matter. The system is functionally dead. It is. It's functionally dead. We could all live in the past, and we can all live in this idealized way of it, and put on the rose-colored glasses. But look, functionally, this system is gone. Functionally, it's just like we're all just going through the motions of it. I don't think that there's any real semblance of concern, at least in my opinion. There's not much innovation there. You can go ahead and say how fast things are and whatnot, but it's like I work in a hotel where it's like, well, we ordered this stuff back in like, April or something like that, and now it comes to us here in October. Apparently, we were supposed to get like 3 mirrors or something like that. All 3 of them were broken. And we have a system that it's just gone numb, where people are paid to do a job that's been outsourced already. We see, these self-checkouts in places like Walmart, for example. It's like, so cashiers are going to be functionally gone within 5 to 10 years, probably. They're going to be gone. It's all going to be self-checkout. It bases itself more on the characteristics of your specific nation. The book, unfortunately, hasn't been translated. It only exists in originally Ukrainian. Oh, okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm at the point where it's just like we're just dragging ourselves along. More jobs are going to be taken away. It's going to be more people who are just going to be at home watching, Matlock reruns or Law and Order reruns or whatever, right, from the 90s. And basically just sitting in their easy chairs, just kind of, they're not going to go outside. They may garden or something like that. I mean, if you want to consider that touching grass, but in general, so it's going to happen more and more. You're going to have a society where it's just like, I remember I used to do this and that, But now you're comfortable at home in your little cul-de-sac where you can watch your reruns of Hee Haw or something like that or whatever, right? So while the rest of us are going to continue to be working until jobs just disappear, apart from some trade jobs. But yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah. I'm learning a lot from college, but to maintain, D2L is a nightmare, and the grading doesn't reflect the knowledge that I learned. Oh, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. I mean, I got my degree. I finished what I started. I'm going to be paying on it for hopefully just the next couple of years. If I can get some other things paid off first, and then just really dedicate myself to just paying a certain amount each month, and that's going to be a hell of a lot better. But man, it's a lot of bullshit out there. A lot of bullshit. A lot of just rubbish going on that, people are like, what the fuck is this shit about, But yeah, I mean, I went off on a tirade. I don't really care. But yeah. I feel like to a certain point, a lot of folks just kind of, they stay in that little era of their childhood and they try to continue to recreate that and try to keep that enthusiasm going, Where it's like with boomers, they're going to remember Hee Haw, they're going to remember, I don't know, Leave It to Beaver or the Ozzie and Harriet. I know my parents do to a point. And they try to keep that alive. They'll try to pay attention to new stuff here and there, but overall, they just try to they relive that time. I mean, even for me, I've done that, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch, Rocko's Modern Life or Rugrats or something like whatever millennial shit, I do, or listen to Eminem again or whatever. But it's like, it's not the same. You're just doing that to try to remember, to try to relive something. So that you can remember when you were more idealistic, or you can remember, Man, I remember when I used to feel better about stuff. And it's a delusion. And it's a dangerous delusion. It is. It's a dangerous delusion that you get into, you know? And you shouldn't do it. But people do because it's easier and because society deems that acceptable. You know? You see people like, Jason Unruh and, and Haas in their fairly recent debate from last month, going on and on about, the Sino-Soviet split at the end of their debate. It's just like, why? Why do you care? I mean, I'll agree with Haas where it's like, yeah, the Soviet Union ended. But it's just, and arguing about, well, why did the Soviet Union actually fall? It's like, it's all pointless, you know? I don't know. It's easier to live in the past than to have to look at the future, though. The future is scary. Especially today, it's scary. Because less people are going to be working. There's going to be less food. There's going to be potentially, climate disaster and all this other stuff that could go on. There's a lot of stuff to worry about. I personally I don't have the energy to be upset. I'm just like, well, whatever. I mean, that's how I genuinely feel, like, okay, whatever. But I mean, it's wild stuff, man. Anywho. Oh, let's just go ahead and wrap it up. I'm feeling sleepy. I felt like I had to do this story. But I may take a break tomorrow. But yeah. Watch old reruns of Little House on the Prairie, and it's a good show, but it's an idealistic view. The interviews with the cast joked about, yeah, it is what it is. Oh, absolutely. It is. Yep, absolutely. I don't know. Just sleepy and everything else. So I think I'll just wrap it up here, but hopefully y'all enjoyed that. I may take a break for the next couple of days, even though I do have, I think, Wednesday and Thursday off. I'll still take a break from it and just be like, So I think that's what I'll do. Probably go out for a walk somewhere. This is the closest to spring we're going to get, so, probably be in the 70s or the 80s, It's not the 100-degree weather that we're used to down here, so try to enjoy it, even though everything's burnt by the sun and dried out, so, yeah. When everything was seemingly simpler. Oh, absolutely. And we all do. We all do. I think that's just part of the human condition, as they say, but yeah. Okay, well, I'm making this ending longer than I need to, so I'll just go ahead and wrap it up here. But I hope you all enjoy this. So see you later. Goodbye.